All right, today we're talking about the Bellroy Tokyo Totepack Compact. This is going to be a smaller version to the regular Totepack. This is going to be 14 liters. The regular Totepack is going to be 20 liters. They both have the same name, except this one's going to have compact. The other one doesn't say large or anything like that. And then the price this is coming in at is going to be around $180. And then the regular size, the 20 liter Totepack, is going to be coming in at around $200. So yes, the initial sticker price might be a little bit steep, but Bellroy is kind of known for making a little bit more premium bags and use more premium materials. And we're just gonna get right into some of those features and materials right now. So the overall aesthetic of the bag is gonna be like a tote style. As the name suggests, you would be able to carry it with these handles like a tote. It does have backpack option, and then it does have them the ability to be stowed away. If you unclip them down here, like so, and then you can tuck it into the back here and then have a cleaner silhouette if that's what you're going for. Now, I do want to clarify, this is not going to be able to be shouldered. And what I mean by that is you're not going to be able to fit your arm through these loops if that's how you normally carry a tote, right? So it's like barely, I would say, forearm or wrist or maybe to your elbow, but the way that I'm going to pack this out, and it's going to be a little bit on the heavier side, and I would mostly look at this as a backpack with some nice handles at the top to be able to carry with one hand. So I just wanted to get that part out of the way. Again, we're talking about 14 liters, and so the capacity is going to be a little bit on the smaller side. The nice thing about this is that it's going to be one main compartment with some features inside for organization. You're going to have up to a 14-inch or 13-inch laptop compartment right here, and then there's going to be another slip pocket right in front of that. That slip pocket is fairly slim. I was able to fit in an iPad mini in there alongside my 13-inch Mac, and so that worked out really well. Or if you need to slide some documents in there. For the laptop sleeve, so we know it is elevated or has a false bottom, meaning that the laptop doesn't go directly to the bottom of the bag. When you go to set your bag down, there's going to be a little bit of separation from the bottom of the bag, which is nice. And then this slip pocket is a little bit more shallow than the laptop, so you might be able to get a full-size iPad in there, but the iPad mini works really well. And then other than those two slip pockets, you're going to have another mesh zippered pocket on the inside right here, and it's fairly stretchy, so you're able to fit in a good amount of items in there. But the way that this packs out, it's top loading and there's no other access other than the top. I would be wary about putting too many bulky items in here if you have a lot of items loosely packed in here, because as you bulk this out, it's going to kind of limit your accessibility to the bottom of the bag. And then on each side here, you're going to have these slip pockets. They work really well to hold a water bottle or maybe a coffee mug, but they do also stow away nicely. They just kind of tuck into the side if you don't want to be using those compartments, and then you could just push them to the side and use the main space just like you would do a big open canvas area. And then going all the way to the bottom, there is a little bit of padding, and I'll kind of show you on the outside here. This does have an interesting curvature to the bottom of the bag. So those of you that are wondering, it does not stand on its own when it's packed out. So that is unfortunate, but it's just the design of the bottom of the bag there. And then as far as the padding goes for the laptop, there is some padding for the laptop on the internal part, and then some padding against the back. And then this is just some sort of like slippery material. It's like a very fine stretchy microfiber on the backside, but not felt or anything like that if you're curious about the lining for the laptop compartment. And then for more pockets, we're going to go to the outside pockets here. You're going to have two side pocket access. One on this side, one on this side. It is divided by the seam right here. So if you can imagine, this pocket goes from the top to the bottom on this side. And we're gonna look at that now. And then this side, it does have a little key carabiner there. No additional internal pockets on this side. And then on the other quick access pouch, you're gonna have just an open space, and then you actually have kind of a hidden slip pocket inside there. You can see this different color, this darker gray material here. It's lightly padded, and I've seen some other people talk about some things you can slip in there. What I do is I actually use this as a spot for my sunglasses. So again, this little divider here does offer some padding and a little bit of separation from the rest of the pocket in there. And then when you do pack it out, this does go down a little bit this way, right? And so just to kind of give you an example, here's a tech pouch that I have, and you can see that the opening is not as wide as the tech pouch, but if you go to slip it in, you can see that it will kind of fall to the bottom a little bit. And then it will be able to fit in there. So depending on the items you plan on carrying in those pockets, you can kind of fit something that's a little bit on the longer side. Just to kind of give you an idea. So again, that pocket is gonna go roughly from here to here and be cut in half the bag right there. So just the two external pockets, no dedicated side pockets for like a water bottle or anything like that. We do have these loops here, one on each side, and these kind of act as like a grab handle when you're trying to use a zipper, or maybe if you wanted to pick up the bag like that, or just kind of grab one end and pick it up that way, that would work well. A good webbing there. But also it would serve a good purpose for something like clipping things on the outside, like here's a hero clip, something like that, easy. Also I have a little, like a rescue me tool that I like to have attached to my bags that I can take it with me in my vehicle. That could easily clip to that. If you don't want things dangling on the outside, you don't have to do that, but that is an option. All right, talking about the material itself, it's not a very heavy duty material. It does feel very fairly weather resistant, and it's actually pretty soft and malleable, which I really like, because when you're using each of the individual pockets, it actually feels like it's easy to get your hand in and move things around and grab things out. It's not so tight to where as soon as you put one thing in, there's like no room to put another item in, or it's really hard to get things in and out. So that is really nice, and that's the whole bag. So when we're talking about it resting against your back, it's actually going to be fairly comfortable because it'll kind of conform to your back and to whatever it is we have on the inside of the bag as well. So it's kind of pros and cons, right? So the pro is that it's going to be a softer carry. When you don't have a laptop internally, it's going to feel really good. When you do have a laptop, it is going to add some rigidity to the back panel, and it will be a little bit more on the stiffer side because of that. Just something to be aware of. All right, so other than that, we are just going to start packing it out, and we're going to see what fits. So again, 14 liters is what we're working with. I have my 13-inch laptop. That slips right in there. And then when I carry my laptop around, I do like to carry this lap desk made by PunCube, I believe is how it's pronounced. If you want me to do a separate review on this, I can. But well, one thing I like to do is I like to slip this alongside my laptop in the sleeve if possible. We're gonna try to do that now. And it does fit, but it is a little bit on the wide side for the pocket, and so it does make it pretty difficult to grab the laptop and pull it out separately. So I probably would not pack it that way. There are some cases where I want to pull my laptop out really quick and I don't want the lap desk, so that would kind of get in the way for me. But if you're going to pull both out every time, then that is fairly easy to do. Another way that you could do it is you could just have your laptop in there, and then you can just have this in the main compartment, drop like that, and then it doesn't get in the way of you pulling the laptop in and out, which is nice. So we still have all of this main compartment area, and then the 2 side pockets to work with, and then that mesh pocket as well. So I'm going to just start loading in. So I do have my little tech pouch here, and I have the option to either shove it into this side pocket, which I'll do now, and you can see this does have like little pull tabs that you can pull on to make it a little easier to gain access to that pouch, which is nice. And like I said, this bag is pretty soft and malleable, so you might find it a little bit difficult when you're putting things in and out when nothing else is in there, because it'll kind of just want to fold on you as you're putting stuff in and out. So when I put my tech pouch in here, I did struggle a little bit, but you can see it does go all the way in there, no problem. We've got that in there now. And then this side pocket here, I would use for a water bottle. Two options for water bottle here. I do have the coffee mug, and then I have a Yeti 18-ounce water bottle. This is gonna be a little bit more on the thicker side of a water bottle. So I do, there's no way you're gonna get like a Nalgene 32-ounce water bottle in here. You could get it in the bag, but not in the side pocket. But I'm gonna just try the Stanley coffee mug in there. So you can see in there right now, it doesn't want to go in because it seems to be catching on something. And I'm not quite sure what that is, but that's gonna kind of be something that happens with this bag as it's not packed out at all. It's just kind of wanting to fold when I'm trying to shove it in. So if I stand it upright, all right, so I got it in there, and for some reason, some of the material internally was kind of seemed to be catching on the water bottle. Now, I am pretty much at the capacity of what this little slip pocket is allowing, and that's probably why it made it more difficult to get it in and out. But I'm gonna go ahead and try the Yeti water bottle next. So it's not wanting to go in right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and say that's probably not gonna fit, but we'll try again after we get a few more items in the bag, and maybe that will help. But you could always, again, just forego the slip pocket and then just put your bottle in the bag anywhere, really. So we're gonna go back to the coffee mug, so we're using the slip pocket. See, we got that in there now. So we got the laptop, the lap desk, got my mug, got my tech pouch on that side, and then we just have this little slip pocket here. I'm just gonna slide a few things that I like to have. So I got a Bluetooth speaker, some mints, small toiletry kit. I'm actually gonna put the small toiletry kit just all the way in the bottom of the bag. Again, this is a pocket you don't want it to get too bulky because it'll start to impede your access to the bottom of the bag. And then once you have stuff in the sides, you can tell that it really starts to kind of enclose your access here. So this slip pocket, you want to keep it pretty slim. So we're just gonna call that good. So I got my small toiletry kit in there. I like to carry a small first aid kit. It's like a boo-boo kit. Got some medicine tablets in there alongside some band-aids and stuff like that. Put that in there. I like to carry a packable tote in case I run into need to carry something that is fitting outside of this capacity. Some work gloves. And we're gonna call that good for now. We're gonna start working on some of the external pockets. We're gonna start on this side where it has that little hidden slip pocket. I'm gonna go ahead and put some shades in there. And just to kind of show you, you can see how it fits in there. They're pretty hidden, which is nice. And then you have that separated for the rest of the compartment in there that you can put anything in there. So I normally like to carry around some snacks, chapstick, and some hand sanitizer. Normally I don't have it in a bag like this, but just for easy loading, I'm gonna go ahead and just put that in there. Fits in there no problem. There's even a little bit of extra space up towards the top here. And then I still have easy access to sunglasses. Go ahead and zip that up. No problem. I'm gonna go around to the other side, and this is where you could have like dedicated keys or anything really to attach to that, but I'm gonna go ahead and just a couple of pins. Got that hero clip I was talking about earlier. That rescue me tool. Just gonna go ahead and put that in there for now. But again, that's something I would most likely clip to the outside of the bag. I'm gonna zip that up. And I did forget, I do like to carry a toothbrush. We're gonna go back over to my snack side. And again, this pocket is long enough to accommodate this. But what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna slip this in to the back here so that way it's nice and tucked away. And there you go. So you can see that even at 14 liters, this bag can carry quite a bit of stuff. And so there's still room left over in the main compartment here to add a couple of items. So two things that come to mind that may be more common for you is if you plan on using this bag to go to work and you carry a lunch to work, maybe you want to throw it into the bag. So here I just have some Tupperware to try to represent lunch. Put that on top there, and then that's probably going to be reaching the limit or the capacity of this bag. Now, if you wanted to maybe rearrange the inside a little bit, or for example, if you carry a laptop, but you're taking a laptop to like a space where you have a desk or you don't need a lap desk like I do, then when you take this out, it does create a little bit more room. Even though that's nice and slim, that adds rigidity to the pack, but you're able to then push that down a little bit more, and then now you have more space right on top, as you can see. And something else that comes to mind is gonna be like a packable jacket, whether that's a down jacket or a rain jacket or a windbreaker. So I'm gonna grab one now. So here, I just have a medium-sized rain jacket. And you can see it sits right on top, no problem, but let's see if it will close. It is pretty snug, but it does close, which is nice. And then the one thing that is really nice about this bag specifically, because the materials are softer and more malleable, and then also Bellroy has created these front pockets to kind of have volume of their own. The inside of the pack being packed out pretty much all the way doesn't really impede the access to the side pockets, which is really nice. So if I wanted to rearrange maybe one of the items from inside to pack out these front pockets a little bit more, I could create more internal storage. Or if you just like these to be nice and loose and open for your quick access, then again, the internal compartment does not push out into the external compartments, which is really nice. It definitely makes this bag feel like it has more room, even though it's only at 14 liters. So again, you can carry it like that, or backpack style. You kind of get an idea how it carries. I'm 5'6", and this pack is not too long to where it catches on my belt, so it's fairly good size. And then even with the laptop inside, it's fairly comfortable. And then the straps have just enough padding for it to be comfortable. One thing I will note is that the way that it's currently riding on my back, I don't know, maybe with my hood hanging down, you can kind of see that the padding kind of stops just where it starts to go under the arm here. And so if you're a taller individual or you need a little bit more slack on your straps, then maybe the compact version might be a little bit too short. You might want to go with the standard size. But the strap management is really nice. There's actually no dangling straps, which is nice. And then if you wanted to just swing it over to access one of the pockets, very easy. Or swing it over your other arm for the other one. Also very easy. Sunglasses. Very nice. So definitely a really good bag. For the size being only 14 liters, you can actually get quite a bit in this bag. Now, I'm gonna talk about a couple of things that I wish I could have done or packed in the bag that it quite can't fit. So again, going backwards a little bit, my packable jacket, that is something I do like to carry because where I live in Oregon, you just never know when it's gonna rain, right? So I often am carrying an extra layer. And then one thing to note too is that I'm usually wearing this layer on my way to work, and then it's a little bit warmer when I'm done with work, so then I want to take a layer off and I want to be able to shove it into the bag. And so that's something I want to be able to do. I also need to be able to carry my lap desk. So if I go backwards, try to put that back in, and then get my lunch back in, or even if I have my packable jacket in first, I really shove it down in there. That packable lunch is gonna sit right there on top. And the only thing that's making it a little bit more difficult is that I have the bottle container, the liquid container right there, and then also my tech pouch on this side. And if I wanted to take my tech pouch out, it's more snug now that it's packed out. And then had it in there laying down instead, then the Tupperware can get into the bag a little easier because it's now having a wider access. And then I can go that way. So it's definitely doable with a little bit of rearranging. And then one thing that I tried to do as well is we talked about the backpack straps being stowable. Well, if you're not using the stowable area for the straps, this is kind of another slip pocket. It's not advertised as that, but you could probably use it as that. So I have two options. Number one, my lap desk. That will fit back here. No problem. And that creates less rigidity inside the main compartment, but it does become quite stiff on my back. There's not a ton of padding on the back of the pack, so I didn't really like that. But what I did instead was I actually took my rain jacket and I shoved it, get it nice and folded, and then I shoved it into this back pocket. And it does go all the way down, which is nice. And it might feel a little funny at first with it being a little bit more bulky now, but because it's the jacket and it's softer and it's not something stiff like this, it actually adds more cushion to your back. So that actually worked out really well. And then I was able to go back to the main compartment, slip my lap desk in there, tech kit laying down this way so that it was easier to get my lunch in. And you can see that that created just enough space up here to make the opening and closing a lot easier. And there you have it. And then I'm gonna throw it on my back one more time just so that you can see the difference. And like I said, it adds more cushion to the back, but it doesn't necessarily change the overall shape of the bag, which is nice. All right, so why I gravitated toward this bag in the first place. I really like the idea of a smaller bag. So the 14-liter capacity really intrigued me. And then also I really like the idea of having a softer bag that would kind of just mold to my back depending on what I would carry. So if I'm carrying less, so not every day do I take my laptop. So then if I lost the lap desk and the laptop, this all of a sudden becomes much softer and much more malleable on your back, much more comfortable. And then also creates a little bit more room on the inside because it's not as stiff. I really like that. Now, talking about drink holders, right? So you got the coffee mug. This is kind of a standard slimmer size, but if you wanted to fit a larger water bottle, you can. Because these slip pockets are nice and soft, they can just kind of be not used at all, and then you're able to fit wider things or a wider water bottle inside of here, no problem. So in this case, without my laptop and without the water bottle, I can actually fit in 2 food containers. Or if I wanted to pack it out a little bit differently, I could do my food containers kind of stacked like this inside of the bag. So there you have it. That is the Bellroy Tokyo Totepack Compact, 14 liters. And I think that this is a really good bag for somebody who's trying to carry less, wants most of their items accessed in one main compartment, able to carry your laptop, a few other items, and then has a really comfortable carry. And then you can easily pass this off as like a business casual type bag. And also kind of just like, you know, like if you needed to go to the office or if you're just rucking around town, this is a nice looking bag. And this does come in a few different colors. I like the black on black, but your mileage may vary. So there you go. Again, the Bellroy Tokyo Totepack Compact 14 liter. Thanks for watching.